Welcome back, and I got Jed in his mains on Killer Well. We haven't had a lot of Killer mains gameplay in a while. Maybe because I don't like mains. I've made that explicitly clear, but eventually I might have to pick one up. Mainly because of the steel and the economic stuff. But for his team, Shikoku, Nebraska, Zayton, Florida, Cataluna, and Kagera. Now, the Nebraska and the Florida are probably going to have the hardest time. The Cataluna and the Mainz are going to have the best time on this map. CV, it depends. If he's a good CV. The only reason why I'm saying the Florida and the Nebraska is because Nebraska can tank. It can take a lot of punishment. So it needs to play further back, which is a downside. And Florida just does not have armor. By far, it doesn't have hardly any armor. It's a very light, snipey cruise. Now, it does look like their carrier is going dive bombing on the forts. Which, let's be honest, is, well, it's worrying in terms of carrier. And the reason I can say that is because any good CV player, Volrong, myself, hell, even Devil. Devil is not the greatest CV player, but he knows how the fundamentals of carriers work, and especially how to play carriers, especially on operations. The fact that he isn't going for the battleships or the DD is concerning. And it's not a good sign for the carrier. So he might still make top 5, but it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up in the top 6 or 7. I don't know many carriers that go for the Nuremberg with armor-piercing bombs. Torpedoes, if we went with it for torpedoes, that would be different. Now, the Nuremberg will die. He'll probably... Actually, I don't know what he's going to do. So we're going to keep an eye on the CV. Cataluna's going into the southern entrance. And Jet is helping his Cataluna by getting some shots on the Nuremberg, which is very much appreciated, I'm sure, for the Cataluna. It looks like the CV is going to go for the Nuremberg, maybe? Yeah, it looks like he's going for the no, he's going for the battleship. He just took a long way to go in. Let's see if he hits it. Hopefully the jet zooms back out. It does look like he did hit it with 2 torpedoes. So, and it does look like I did see a flood. Now let's see if the Cataluna survives the gauge. Cataluna kills the Nuremberg. Okay, what about the gauge? Shikoku kills the gauge. Okay, so that might help beef up the Shikoku's XP. Nebraska's launching his bombers on the, it looks like the Gneisenau now. The Kagero kills the Baron, so the Cataluna is okay. He's safe. I am shocked that Jed is not farming the Gneisenau now. But he is going to do the classic, camp the northern spawn. Which is honestly fair, because let's be honest. If you're going to lose a star anymore, the reinforcements are where you're going to lose it. And that's 3 of your stars there. So, positioning yourself for the reinforcements is critical. And he is blind shotting that fort. He knows where it's at. So that illustrates knowledge of the game and knowledge of the op. And he does get a fire on it. He has to have a fire. So it is burning. And in the port, it looks like Kagero may be going for a torp drop on the Gneisenau now. And the CV is going to go for the Baron. And the Florida does. Like I did say at the beginning, I did not anticipate the Florida having a fun time. It only has 25mm armor on that bow, meaning the Gneisenau overmatches it, and I believe the Baron overmatches it also. So, not the best for me. But Florida's a very temperamental ship. It really is. She's a ship that's... You don't see many of them anymore. You really don't. I only bought my Florida because, well, I wanted a ship that had, like, who doesn't want an American battleship that has 12 guns at tier 7? It is accurate, just not the best. CV is still going after the Baron. It looks, yeah, it does look like the Kagero is going to torp drop the Gneisenau. That's the first bit of damage he's taken, and he will pick up the fort. Fortunately, I don't know what's going on in the port, so I can only judge by the mini-map. Looks like the Zeiton and the Gneisenau are... You know, or sorry, the Nebraska and the Zeiton are staying alive. I'm pretty sure the Gneisenau is going to go down sometime. He's... Oh, wow, he actually took Zeiton torps. Okay. That's actually very surprising. I am shocked that the Gneisenau hasn't died yet, though. There it goes. And he deletes the Nuremberg right off the bat. So right there and then, they've helped secure the northern route. And the Zeiton, I don't really know what the Zeiton's going to do. I can't tell if he's going out through the F3 and 4 or if he's going to swing back north. Now he is positioning himself for the Baron. I don't really know what the CV's doing with his rockets though. So we'll have to see how that goes. Looks like Nebraska is sending his bombers out. The CV is sending the fighters out. I wish he would send out the torp bombers. Because they wasted a fair amount of time. I'm sorry, but they wasted time getting those planes out there. Nebraska, I'm not really issuing it on. I'm issuing it on the CV. Because if a CV on Killer Whale has the biggest reach and the biggest impact, that's without a doubt. It's had a tier since tier 6. A good tier 8 CV can have a huge impact on this map.
Reconnaissance reporting. The second enemy
And he will torch the Baron. He is going to take a significant amount of little secondary damage. But it did. Now the question is, what is he going to do? He's at 120k. His team's not doing it hardly much. So what's he going to do? Is he going to try to help secure those 5 stars? Kagero is, I will give the Kagero props. He is sitting at the southern entrance. Meaning that he is standing in the way of anything coming in through the bottom. So that's kudos to him. Zeiton is moving out. Cataluna looks like he's finally coming out. Jed gets a nice, blows up the engine. CV, it's like a torp, and then the Zeiton secondaries finish it off. So, it doesn't look like nothing's going to enter the port yet. They got to get that Fuso and Nuremberg down. And the second wave will be spawning in the last bit of reinforcements will be spawning in 1 minute. So the best thing Jed can do at this point is spawn camp this next wave, kill it, and then move on south to try to help kill those guys down south. The CV honestly could have stayed back further where he was at the very beginning because he could have had shorter flight times, which for a CV is critical. Minimize your flight times. But I have no problem with him spawn camping these reinforcements. There's not much he can do. And once he kills the 2 reinforcement groups here that'll be spawning, he can then go after the Fuso. My question is the Nuremberg going to get through? Kagero picks up the Fuso, so kudos to him. So it's just the Nuremberg left. And there's a battleship. The Kagero can shoot it. Luchins goes active. He gets some more health back. I mean, Zeiton secondaries will whittle that Nuremberg down. It pins it everywhere on that ship. Let's just hope he doesn't get torqued. There's the reinforcements. Activates another heal from Lucan. Picks up the Nuremberg and kills the bear. So 231k. Now he's helping farm down the reinforcements. The Zeiton picks up the Nuremberg. So now Jed is in a good spot to help farm and help pick these other 2 up. If he can kill the Aoba, then he can help farm down the Fuso. CV sending out armor-piercing bombs. I hope he goes for the battle. I hope he does. Cataluna is shooting the Fuso though. So there's a lot of good teamwork going on here. A lot of good teamwork. I will give that to the team. It isn't just a solo Mainz carry. Let's be honest. The team is doing... Oh, I wish the Nebraska had gone for the CV. For the battleship. Would have been a lot better. CV is going to go for the Aoba, which is unfortunate. Now Jed is shooting the Fuso. So
Problem gelöst.
So, you're shooting the Fuso, Cataluna's on it, the Zeiton's on it, everyone is literally on it. So, they will pick up 5 stars. That's without a given. Let's go. They're going to pick up 5 stars. And the Kagero and the CV are both making their way. So this is going to be a 5-star op. So a lot of teamwork going on here. Jed hasn't left his, because he has the ability to still kill those 2 ships that are coming for him. So that's actually a good thing.
Reconnaissance reporting. The first enemy is approaching.
Picks up the Moss, and he will pick up the Fuß. Now. Crosses. Looks like, ooh, so close to 400k, so kudos to him. So 382k, 8 kills. Ray, natural selection. So a really good display of Mainz, let's be honest. But I also got to give it to the rest of his team too. I've seen some Mainz gameplays on here from, like, I think it was from Deathwing and others, where they've just, you know, killed everything. But especially like what Jed did, but they usually lose out on those battleships and stars. Well, this is one of the few that it actually ends up being different. Now, Jed can stay and try to get that Hipper and maybe cross 400k. Or he can book it. I think he will stay. Without a doubt, he will stay and try to get that 400k. Well, the question is, will the Kagero and the CV enter the circle before their... Oh! Kagero torps. Question is, how long were those launched? That almost looked like he had reload boosted. Maybe. I mean, reload boost Kagero is probably one of the only ways to run a Kagero. Let's be honest.
Reconnaissance reporting.
There's Bismarck. I think the Zeiton's gonna die. Oh! He got a double Citadel, so kudos. He does cross 400 crates, so kudos. Well done. 9 kills. Yeah, he's got himself a natural selection. And they will get, and it's a solid 5 stars. So, a really good game. Not in terms of for Jed here and his team. So, really good game. So, kudos. The Zeiton goes down, that's unfortunate. He didn't have a lot of health. But he did do a tremendous amount. Now, let's look at what Jed ends up at the end screen. Solid 800,000, almost 900,000 credits. Decent amount of little free XP, some good credits. But again, he gets C-Star, Natural Selection, Ray, and a major contribution. So good. Kudos. Top of his team with 22-23. Florida at the very bottom. Like I had anticipated, I did anticipate the carrier being in at least the top 5, but it wouldn't surprise me if he had crossed into the bottom 6. But it wasn't a complete, oh, Mainz gets everything. As you can see, the Kagero, Nebraska, Cataluna, and Zeiton all did their part. Still, but you definitely can tell that the Cataluna and the Zeiton definitely pulled their share, for sure. So, kudos to them. Gets about 7,400 spotting damage. Not a lot, but it helps. In terms of what took all his health away, mostly HE. HE mainly sapped all his health away. Surprisingly, the one that did all the damage to him was the Aoba, which wasn't surprising. But a very good match. Let's look at the credits and everything. Still ends up with a solid 800,000 credits. We're running a 600 booster on his free XP, so that's actually not a bad haul. That's kind of the haul I like to aim for. Now, it's unfortunate that he was running not a blue booster. that would have been a really good haul if he had a blue booster. Now for Commander XP, he looks like he was running a green booster, and solid, 13k, not bad. So he was only running a 40 booster. So again, if that had been red, blue, or any of those boosters, we could have seen a high damage game. But if you're going to run ops, of course, always run a premium account, like I always say. And then, if you don't have lots of blue boosters and red boosters, not many of us do, green boosters. Green boosters, and then some gray boosters in between. You'll make sizable profits every now and then. But a very good game from him. And from his team, which is really nice to see.